I'm going to explain essentially why you should email your VIPs, some case studies of VIP campaigns that we've sent for clients, and ultimately how it's going to drive extra sales for your brand, and just really go from where you're at with email revenue to maybe you're at 20%. This type of stuff will help you to get to 25%, maybe more, right? It's just all these little things. So as I say, let's get into it. So VIP customers, the low-hanging fruit. So VIP customers are ones that have spent 2 to 5 times your average order value. So maybe you have an average order value of $50. Obviously, if someone spends $100 to $250, obviously you can pick which type of segment you'd like to do, and essentially you would like to gauge this based off the KPIs that you're getting from the campaigns. So maybe you could just test with maybe a 4 times average order value, and then you could lower it to maybe a 2 times, to increase that list size a little bit. But yeah, that's typically how it's how it's structured, or it could even be over a certain amount of purchases, even, or a percentage of revenue, or an amount of revenue, should I say. So maybe if someone buys from your store 3 times, then they get classed as a VIP. Or if they spend over $300 at your store, this is a VIP. So you could even pick for yourself what you'd class as a VIP. Typically for our clients, we'll do 2 to 5 times average order value. Now you have to realize with VIPs, these customers are your most engaged customers of all. Okay, they love your brand and they are eager to buy. They've bought more than anyone else, and they are, as I say, they are just your most loyal advocates and fans. Okay, so they will create and share the most UGC. So maybe you're sending a couple campaigns to try and gather reviews from people or UGC, or maybe you have maybe you have a flow set up, maybe your thank you flow has some type of review request or something like this for percentage off their next order or a refund or whichever. But for your VIPs, they are the most likely to create good and interesting UGC. So obviously this can be utilized as campaigns or flows to try and get UGC from them specifically, whether this is alternate paths in the flow that you have to send a review request just to VIPs. It really is powerful just to speak to them specifically. So they should be treated with the utmost respect, as you could probably imagine. Obviously these customers are most deserving of your best offers and your most respect. So if you're not emailing this segment, you are leaving revenue on the table, and this is just from clients that we work with, to even just makes sense when you think about it. Your most engaged fans, and you're not emailing them specifically, it's likely that you're leaving some revenue on the table. They're unlikely to unsubscribe and whatnot as well, so they really can be emailed probably more than you would think. So this could be a combination of campaign sales. So maybe you have a discount that you're running, or a sale just for your VIPs. Maybe it's exclusive offer that you're offering, a giveaway or something like this, and you send it as a campaign to your VIP customers. It could also be a flow offer, or flow sale. As I say, maybe in your thank you flow, you segmenting one of the emails off to send a unique email to your VIPs. Maybe you're offering them a higher discount to provide more UGC, or maybe you're offering them a tiered discount. If they spend over $100, they get 10% off. If they spend over $200, they get 15% off, etc. So that's one way that it can be used as well. And also just asking them to make your UGC for lots of raving reviews and videos. So obviously, if you're asking your VIP segment for UGC, you're likely to get much more of a response than if you send it to just your general list. They should have unique copy and offers just for them. Okay, there needs to be some perks here. If you're treating your VIPs as actually VIPs, they'll remember, they'll love you even more. They love that they're being appreciated, and it'll just make them want to buy more from you, honestly. So make sure that you're emailing them. The segment size doesn't need to be huge, and to be honest, unless you're a huge store, it probably will be pretty small. And by this I mean, a couple hundred people. Obviously if you have a big store, it could be thousands or tens of thousands, but it obviously depends on which size your store is at. Your VIP customers are, of course, your most loyal fans, so it won't be a huge list. That's okay. This is an example of one of our sales campaigns for one of our clients who only had 124 VIPs, so not really too many, just a handful, to be honest. So we sent them, it was just a simple campaign. They hadn't been emailed before we came along. So we didn't really know how they would respond, but for this we went with I think it was 3 times average order value. It could have been 2 actually. I'll have to check with that, but either way, it's actually here. It's 2.5 times average order value. So it was this plus the VIP customers that we also tagged were they'd spent over $300, I think. So that was what the client viewed as a VIP as well. So this was it. It was only literally 124 people, and as you can see, we had a really ridiculous open rate, 61%, 5.7% click, which is really good, and then a 1.6% conversion rate, which is also really good from a campaign. Is really amazing. Obviously about $400 in revenue from this, and obviously this is an email segment that had never been emailed before and was separate to just the standard sort of 90-day engaged. So this type of stuff really helps to allow you to send more campaigns to your list without running into more churn, essentially. So no unsubscribes, no spams or anything like that. And then so that was that. And this is just how the email looked. It's nothing crazy, just a VIP special offer, 15% off when they spend over $200. And then there was specific codes made for them as well, that ran out on the 31st of July. This is the second email that we sent, so this is just kind of a reminder. So typically the metrics will be slightly lower, and then from there, we got $325 in sales for this one. So from a simple campaign to 2 campaigns, it was $700 or so from a very small list. Bearing in mind this is not a massive store or anything, but to really drive revenue, this is a segment that just was really underutilized before we came along. So this was just a reminder email. It was just a simple reminder, just to go ahead and get that special offer, and this drives some extra revenue there as well. And that was it. We could have sent, to be honest, probably could have sent another one, because there was no reason not to be honest, but the time obviously did run out on this, and you don't want to send too many in certain situations. But to be honest, next time we send a VIP sale, we probably could send 3 emails for this one. So obviously this is just an example of some real results from actually sending to your VIPs, even if it is not a massive segment. So using different segments, such as your VIP segment, allows you to send more campaigns to your list without running into churn. So the VIP segment is great to add some variation, instead of just sending to your 90-day engaged, or just a standard segment that you would send to. So this is actually how to set up a VIP segment in your ESP, and we use Klaviyo. I really would suggest you use Klaviyo if you have an e-commerce store. But if you're using Omnisend or whichever, then it works pretty similar, to be honest. So you would just go to your lists. You would create a segment here, and you call this, VIPs, whichever you like to call it. So this would be if essentially you would do what someone has done or not done. You would say revenue, And if you're doing it as an average order value, then you are going to want to have a little look at your average order value. Because obviously, if you can see your average order value, then you'll be able to work out, 2 times that or 5 times that, of course. So let me just pull this up here. So for this client, the average order value was, you can see at the start of the year was around 87. It's gradually been increasing up to where it's at now, which is around $95. So a steady upward trend, which is what you're looking for. Assuming that you're doing everything right and you're optimizing your store and whatnot, you should be, you should be increasing your average order value there. So obviously in this case it was 95. I just went with $100 just because it's pretty much there. Then why don't I just show actually the VIP segment itself. So for this store, as you can see, it's actually gone up to 115 now, which was around 105, literally like last week. So, it can grow quite quickly depending on how engaged the customers are. You can see here that it was, if someone has spent at least $250, obviously if their average order value was $100, then 2.5 times that would be your average order value. Obviously, if you did 2 times average order value, it would be $200. If you did 5 times average order value, it would be $500. It just depends. It really, you could start with a wider bracket. So you could start with the 2 times average order value. But then if you find that you're getting like lots of unsubscribes from emails, from campaigns and whatnot, or if maybe you're just getting lots of spams or your open rate's quite low, then maybe consider changing it to a 3 times order value, a 4 times, or maybe even a 5 times as well. So obviously that just makes it a bit more strict in terms of the segment that you're using. So you could set it as this, and then, if someone is not suppressed for email as well. So this will make sure that everyone that is in this segment is not suppressed as well, which is super important. So that is one way to do it. Obviously, you could do it as placed order, potentially. So you could do it as placed order at least, say, 3 times over all time. And that would also work as well, just to create a different segment. And then you could kind of combine them all and send the campaign to all of your VIPs. So you're getting a large mixture there. So that's how you would go about setting that up. It's super easy. It's not a complicated segment. And this is how to set up a flow to tag VIPs. So this is one we actually have for this client as well. So obviously the campaign would be sent to the list of the segment itself. But as people actively become VIPs, you can have an automated flow so that as soon as they become a VIP or as soon as they reach that $250 in revenue, they'll automatically be tagged as a VIP. And then they will also receive an email as well. So with this one, we actually only implemented this not very long ago. Actually, it was really not long ago. But from one person being sent, they already bought something. So it's of course that's probably a little bit of a fluke potentially of 1 and 1. But nonetheless, you see the point that VIPs are very engaged, and you should be emailing them and setting them up as flows here as well. So